Into it. Welcome to the show, Morning Minutes, with myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak. And this morning we're talking about don't get tricked. You've been tricked. What's your property worth? And just some good dialogue if you're selling out there and you're interviewing agents and we're discussing pricing. It's not... You're not getting your blinds done or the plumbing fixed, and you're looking for the lowest quote or the opposite, the highest quote. Mark, what are agents? Let's sort of get technical at the beginning. Is it a valuation? Is it an opinion of value? What is an agent? G'day, Nikki Parker, Alessio, Daryl. Good to have you on, Mark.
It is the oldest trick in the book. It is the oldest trick in the book for customers that are seeking agent services. When it comes to selling, when it comes to renting, you get the agent to your house. And the oldest trick in the book is you fall for the price. You forget about service. You forget about talent. You forget about advertising, marketing, all of those things. You just look at the price, and the agent tells you the price more than you want, and you suddenly like that person. It is the biggest trick in the book of naughty real estate agents. Quote high, get them in, rip them up.
Yeah, it's almost one strategy. Like if you were selling, a good tip would be have the price of the agents at the end and see who you liked on all of them prior to knowing the price, and who had the best marketing strategy, who you had the rapport with. I think that would be a good way you've almost got to think of it that way, because a lot of time as agents, you hear, oh, we're going with that agent because he said it's worth this. Guys, an agent has all agents have access to the same data of recent sales. And a lot of the time, so do you with technology these days. You can see what things are sold for. So if you've got two agents and they're saying 1.5 and then one agent says 1.8, you should really look into, you should really question, how did you get that price when two others didn't? Don't get me wrong, some agents can get it wrong, but more often than not, an agent will go in higher than get it wrong than what it's worth. So you should really, as much as that's what you want to hear, I think a lot of people allow their emotions to cloud their judgment, and that's normal. It's the biggest decision of your life. It's really what you want to hear. 100 grand up or down can really be life changing. So you want to believe it, but you've really got to question back the data and get a response, rather than, oh, I thought that's what you'd want to hear to go with me.
And look, the reason why you're getting an agent through the property is not for the price. So why are you focusing so much on the price? Agents don't price the property. Buyers price the property. The market prices the property. Prospective tenants price the property. They will vote with their money. They will vote with their money, and they will tell you what it's worth. What you're employing the agent for is to extract every possible buyer in the market and to extract the highest possible price out of those people. That's what you're interviewing. And people are used to interviewing quotes for price, as in prices, what it's there, and it's wrong. They're going to be interviewing agents for services and products, what they're going to do to get the highest price for the property, not what price. A bank valuer is what you get. If you want to price your property, you get a bank valuer through your property. And guess what? They are still not buyers through your property.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I find some owners, they just get tunnel vision on, once they see that price, like, that's the guy for me. And because an agent gives the highest price, it doesn't mean they appreciate your home the most. A lot of owners think, well, he thinks it's worth that. That means he sees the invisible value this property has. He gets it. Because any owner, if the house is worth 1.5, in their mind, they've got probably 10% higher just because they love the home. It's their home. And sometimes they correlate the price given with how much the agent appreciates or loves the home, where it's just not the case. And you nailed it on the head there, Mark. And an agent is there to get buyers to the property and to negotiate. not irrelevant of the price. It's market with strategies, and just like anything, there's different strategies will get different amount of buyers to a property, and there's difference between one agent with their strategies and knowledge and database can get more to your property rather than some others. That's what you're choosing. And what those people are going to pay for, you just don't know. But you need to, what you are nominating, what you're looking for is the person who can bring the most buyers there. But then also you want to know they can negotiate. You don't want to have a great buyer there in front of a bad negotiator, because then it's not going to go well. I'm sure everyone can relate to, they've gone to a shop to buy something, and more on and let's use a lower example because people probably may click a bit more. Everyone's gone to a shop where you may be looking to buy shoes, and the person who's selling you the shoes is as useless as tits on the bull. They don't know the product. They don't know the benefits. They don't know what other shoes are sold for. And you're just like, this is ridiculous. And I walk out, and you had the mindset of going into that shop to buy, but the person who was representing that shop couldn't sell the product, couldn't let you know about the product. It's the same with real estate agents. It doesn't matter if that shoe is $500 or $100. That process of getting you that information is the exact same. That's what you're choosing your agent on.
And it's easy to flash the cash.
Yeah.
It's easy to flash the cash. If someone flashes the cash, it doesn't mean what you think, right? So if you're using that example at a bar, or if you use at a bar, if someone's flashing the cash, if they've got a fancy suit, if they're telling you a huge figure and flashing the cash, it doesn't mean they are what you need. So you've got to be clever enough to actually know what you need when you're looking for a real estate agent. You've got to be clever enough to say, okay, I realize that price is probably lower on the run, because really, if you're very good at finding buyers, a lot of them, the right ones, getting them through my property, saying the right things, negotiating the property well, hell, that's going to make me 10 grand more than the other 2 or 3 people that I just had through. So you're not actually looking for price, guys. You're looking for the agent that you're going to put opposite your buyers. That's what you're looking for. Irrelevant, and whether that agent just flushes the cash or whether he actually is an experienced negotiator to leverage the highest price out of the buyer, it's massive.
Yeah, because you're not picking an agent on the price. You can sell the home yourself. You put the price low enough, you will get buyers to your home. Sell it low enough, you will get buyers. You're not picking an agent for that. You're picking an agent for the access of all the past deals they've done, all the past buyers they've accumulated over the years that you're going to access. Think about it this way. You're going to say pay $5,000 of marketing for your home. That may attract 20 buyers. Only one person buys it. So therefore, you got 19 buyers left over, but you're selling your own home, doesn't matter. You've got that one buyer. Now imagine an agent who has sold 50 homes, and each owner has paid $5,000 of marketing, and each property is drawn 20 buyers. Then you got 20 homes times 50 homes divided by 20. You got 1,000 buyers. Now, obviously, some bought the homes, but you got 9. That's what you're buying, those buyers, plus new strategies to get more buyers, and then have the ability to negotiate with those buyers once you get them. But it's got nothing to do with price. Price is one of the lowest ranked. If you were to look at it, it's probably say like marketing, because the way I look at marketing, Mark, if you can bring enough buyers to a property, then that will compensate if you're not the best negotiator, because you just got your own competition. Think about the market 2 years ago. You put a for sale sign out there, you open door, it's sold, and you just get multiple offers because there was just so many buyers out there. So in a tougher market, it's a lot, probably the most important thing is marketing, having strategies, plan A, plan B, plan C, pre-portal, on realestate.com, and if it hasn't sold in 30 days, what's next strategy? That's more important. Then negotiating. As I said, you don't want to put your best buyer in front of a bad negotiator. those two are a lot more important than the price an agent has told you, because a buyer out in the marketplace doesn't care what the price is. They're going to look at it and come up with themselves. And a lot of the time the price isn't even on the property, so it even cares less what you've told the owner.
It's so true. Who we got here today? Bo, how are you? Mr. Caruso, how are you? Aqua Discassa, g'day.
Discuss. But Michael, there's always three prices on a property: bargain, market, and dream. Pay an agent to protect your price. Yeah, protect the asset. And also, what's the agent telling you with strategies to get a better price and have your home looking better? For example, live mode and sell mode. And what we mean by that is decluttering the home. You want to have your home presented in a way that will attract buyers. So little tips out there: remove your family photos, declutter. The reason is a person buying your home is buying their family home, not yours. So they don't want to be reminded. They want to picture their kids growing up there.
Said.
So if you have a big photo of your kids, it sort of distorts them. Do you need to paint this, clean this, your gardening, landscaping? These are the tips you're getting an agent through. And then tips of marketing. For example, like, do I have a signboard at the front of my home? Yes or no? Like, for example, we were with buyers at the moment, like, let's say you live in a cul-de-sac. A lot of owners think, let's not put I don't want a signboard at the front of my home because only the people who live in the street that come down there, but that's not the case. Any professional agent will know there's a lot of young families that will look at the school precinct, will then look at the streets around there that have cul-de-sacs, because that's where kids love to play. It's a lot safer street. So then they'll drive down the streets with cul-de-sacs and see if there's a signboard. If you don't have a signboard, then they don't know you're for sale. A lot of agents will just say, yeah, you're right, let's not put one out the front. So you're paying an agent for the experience, the inside knowledge, basically.
But how many times, Michael, have you lost business based on the price that you gave an owner? So you've gone to an owner and they've said, look, Michael, we actually preferred you out of all the agents, but just on price, you weren't thinking what we were thinking, which was the highest price. And then the property's on the market for 3 or 4 months, you know, and it dusts 5 or 10,000 in advertising, and then gives it to you to sell because they did like you in the beginning, and you're the one they actually trusted, but they liked the price that the agent gave them. It happens regularly. And then we come along, we call it a clean up in our office. So when an agent doesn't get something sold, we clean up behind them. How many cleanups we do because properties have been overquoted by realtors. Now, I'm not suggesting that agents are doing that in an evil way or they're doing that just to get the business, like that they're bad agents. But I just think sometimes that, you know, they jizz.
Yeah, let's face it. Some maliciously do it. But
can I take back that word jizz?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll take that. I think sometimes I'll take back the jizz. That sometimes they just get a bit excited, you know, that they price it incorrectly because they're too over the market because they love it or whatever. But
or they're inexperienced.
They're inexperienced. You know, so it's dangerous, guys.
I reckon it's more inexperience than maliciously. And a lot of the time that inexperienced one is the cheapest agent. So we haven't even touched on commission. That would be a whole nother topic, a whole nother segment. Maybe we just stay on price because that's a whole nother 40-minute rant.
Well, look, the commission, I think a good agent, obviously you're paying, you know what it is also, you're not comparing same like for like. I think people don't realize that. I think if you're buying a can of Coke, I guess price does matter even more because a can of Coke is all out of one factory. If you're buying a Toyota Corolla, then it's all out of the one factory. So then it becomes a price war and it's a race to the bottom, right? This is different. This is different because, you know, it's like bread or fresh bread. It's two bloody different things. Do you know what I mean? So an agent's services of what you're buying or consuming, or it's like a doctor. You can get a doctor with no qualifications, or you can get a doctor that's been doing that specific operation or 20 years. So at the end of the day, I think you've got to be really careful. Like, you know what's really funny? Who goes into a doctor and cares about how much they're going to pay for their heart surgery?
Yeah.
Like, this is an event that's going to be significantly life-changing to the person. It's a once in a lifetime thing that happens to someone. It's health, and you actually don't even care about price. I just want a really good doctor. People have got a value that selling a property, it's not as important as the heart surgery, but they got to understand that, you know, they're only going to be, this is their one of the biggest assets they're ever going to have in their life. And they have to get the highest possible price for that asset. And they do need a doctor of a salesperson to get the highest price of selling the asset. So they can't fall into that trap. They can't fall into the trap of no, you know, and that what that doctor is doing. What has he done that operation lots before? Has he got lots of experience? Price is irrelevant. That's my point. Commission is irrelevant. That's my point. You know, you got to be pricing your property. Put that aside for now, because the market's going to put the price on the property.
Yeah. And guys, Luke, thanks for joining in. If you're just joining in, what we're talking about is owners getting tricked with what their property is worth. Either agents being inexperienced, owners hearing what they want to hear and nominating agents based on the price they give. Sometimes agents can go a little bit higher. Sometimes it's a malicious tactic because they know a lot of owners will pick based on the emotion of what an agent thinks it's worth. Sometimes it's through inexperience. Sometimes it's a combination of both. So we're just stressing to you guys, pick an agent based on the marketing strategy, the negotiation skills. And there's a lot of ways around that. Not on the high. Don't pick them. The worst thing you can do is basically pick an agent on the highest price and the lowest fee. That combination equals the shittest agent. Simple.
Big time. Anything else we want to talk about? Say something very important. I made the golden mistake for real estate agents today.
What did you do?
I ate garlic.
Garlic. Oh, bad breath.
Saturday, open houses, lots of people you meet. I went to Lavotti's last night and I had garlic prawns, and I could kill a vampire if they were half a kilometre away. Not good, mate, but a good meal. I've got to say, a good meal. If you get to go, if anyone's on the northern beaches or wants to travel to the northern beaches of Sydney, a family-run, unbelievable business to go and have Italian, Lavotti's Italian.
Let's get Frank on. Let's get Frank on. Talk about opening. How they've had the family business, 30 years?
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about them. They've had, especially as a business, they've had prime street frontage property, and then they've been in the back streets. What was the reason? I'd love to get what's the reasoning behind it. How do they feel? Because being out on the front lines of a lot of commercial deals, a lot of tenants may steer away from that location. But I stress, if you've got a product that's good enough and the service and say food good enough, people will come. And usually a lot of the time, if you're not in as much of a prime position, your parking situation is a hell of a lot better, which is more of a prime position. So I'd love to get those guys on.
But they are an establishment and a half. They're an attraction business. And I think that you can, once you're even more established, you can start to afford to do that. And you know what's really interesting? With these businesses now with social media, all those beauty shops that we're putting in, nail and beauty that's going into a particular building in DY8 Fisher Road, they don't even care now about being about having eyeballs seeing them, because they've got a social media presence.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting as well.
That could be another one. Has social media replaced the shop front?
You reckon it has?
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back on Monday.
Fort Media, how are you, legends? Everyone have a great weekend. Any plans for the weekend, Mr. Bergio?
Nope.
Any exciting? Any dates? No. Any Saturday night dates?
No. All right.
just everyone last week, Verge got caught out on a date with a client, and the client put it in a WhatsApp group, the photo of Michael and his date. So you can't get away these days.
Nah, that's all right. It's all good. I was with Pavilion. It was a great meal.
It's gold. All right.
Good times. All right. Thank you.
See you,
Cheers.
mate. See you.
Boy.
Bye.